Well, welcome back to the baseball hut. Have not done a live stream in a very long time, and we're just going to get started momentarily. Um, like I said, it's been a long time since I've done anything, and this I'm doing this on my phone. I've not done anything like this in a long time. Just they say you do stuff on the app or you do stuff on YouTube itself, it does better than it normally would on StreamYard. So I'm not doing a StreamYard tonight. Just want to do something impromptu and. Hopefully, we'll just wait for some people to come in. Have done a live stream a long time. I think people are going to be in shock. I'm in shock doing this right now. But it's the first full week of spring training. First full week of spring training, and we got the players are all down there in Florida, out there in Arizona. And we're back here at the baseball hut talking about all kinds of things. And we'll talk about the Yankees in this video. Talk about the Mets a little bit, the Brewers, and the Nationals. So let's get to it. So obviously, as everything's Mets centric here, the Mets signed Luke Voigt to a contract, to a minor league. I guess it's kind of insurance just in case they don't have, any resolution with this situation with Mark Vientos. Obviously, Mark Vientos is a guy who's going to get a big chance to be the everyday designated hitter here. And it gives him a little bit of insurance just in case Brett Beatty doesn't perform well. These guys can come in and be DHs like Luke Voigt and G-Man Choi. And that should be interesting. Hey, what's up, Muttley and Love? How you doing? Yeah, of course, like this video, of course. We'll see how this video goes. Like I said, I have not done anything like this in a long time. So, it's another way to sort of do live streaming without any kind of like, I'm going to do different. I want to do sort of the landscape of this video, but I feel like changing on here. Like I said, I haven't done a video on my phone and a very, so this is unusual for me. Maybe we'll start doing more of these, at least on the phone, because I really don't want to do StreamYards. It's just a pain in the ass, to be honest with you. Then I got septic, and then every time, because where I live, everything is close together, and it's a headache. But so obviously today the Mets signed Luke Voigt to be I guess a first baseman DH. As you know, he has led the league and led the American League in home runs in 2020. 20 home runs, and the year before he had 22 home runs for the Yankees. So, hello Richard, how you doing? Mets also signed Luke Voigt. Hopes he hits behind Alonso. Well, we'll see. I kind of like the moves the Mets have made the last couple of weeks because they've been bringing a lot of veteran players to sort of help this team out. These sort of depth pieces. I would mention about Luke Voigt. He's 33 years old. Yeah, how you doing, Richard? What's going on? Like I said, I haven't done a live stream in a very long time, and this should be a lot of fun. I would say that depending on how this does, we'll do more like this over on the phone. Like I said, I don't like setting up the stream now. It's just a headache, and I always get bumped off. And I was going to do a whole bunch of videos, talk about, the Yankees, the Brewers. I would mention about the Brewers and just do more than mention. The Brewers re-signed Brandon Woodruff to a 2-year deal. So he's another pitcher off the boards for any team, really. Apparently, he signed a 2-year deal with the Brewers, obviously with this thing with his shoulder. His injury is a little bit different than his elbow. People think that and feel that I guess he had surgery up here to straighten the situation out with him. And that's a different kind of surgery than an elbow surgery. There's a lot more risk to it than any kind of like injury to his elbow. Anytime you get anything done with the shoulder, it's a little bit more, there's a little risk there. In terms of, and you might not bounce back. I would say this about many years ago. Dwight Gooden had surgery on his shoulder back in 1991. I because he tore his rotator cuff. And he was never really the same after 1991. He wasn't throwing nearly as hard after that. So that sort of was, sort of explain why his numbers after 91 fell off the cliff. Hello, Rocky Marciano. Well, getting on with my regulars here. Hi, how are you? Of course, hit that like button. And you come through for the first time, hit the subscribe button too. But yeah, if you want me to do more of these, I'll be more than happy to. I don't really like doing the live streams because but I just felt like doing it today. I know I don't do much live streaming too much, but if I can get more people to watch and participate, because I do these premieres. But let me get back to Corbin Burnes. I'll read you a little bit from MLB trade rumors. The Brewers are re-signing righty Brandon Woodruff, per John Heyman of the New York Post. It'll be a 2-year deal for the McKinnon sports client, though the financial elements of the pact aren't yet publicly known. Now, he was not intended by the Brewers. From Richard, Michael Kay practically called Mets shit today because they did not get JD and Snell and Montgomery. You know what? Michael Kay can go F himself. He is one of the most miserable, and the Hut means one of the most miserable talk show hosts in this town. There is a reason why ESPN New York is not going to be on the FM dial, and that's because he is one of the most dreary individuals on the air. What's interesting about him is people on the air hate his guts. His partners hate his guts like you could not imagine. But the difference between him and, say, Don Imus, who everybody that worked for him hated his guts, those guys, he was funny. Those people were funny. They were entertaining. Those guys on ESPN are not entertaining. And the fact of the matter is ESPN New York failed in their war against WFAN because they're not entertaining. Michael Kay is one of the biggest shills. I was watched, you talk about shills, just so you know. Anybody associated with the Yankees in terms of their broadcasters are shills, every single one of them. From Michael Kay to Susan Waldman, John Sterling. I know that WFAN has been complaining about the brushback that they got from a lot of Met fans, and including this channel. They've been they don't openly. But I do know that they've been complaining that they don't want to be shills, that they don't want to be shills for the Mets. And I would point out they have one of the biggest shills that has been working for them for 37 years, and Susan Waldman. They have one of the worst broadcasters in baseball, who is a shill. From Richard, he said Mets only won 80 games. If they had 3 guys I mentioned, they win 90 to 95 games. I highly doubt that. The team that Snell pitched for, how many games did they win last year? 81? 82? How many games did the Padres win last year? Jordan Montgomery is a number 3 or 4 starter during the season. He'll pitch well in postseason. He pitched well in postseason for the Rangers last year. And JD Martinez, it doesn't matter who JD Martinez played for with the Dodgers. The Dodgers were going to win 100 and whatever games they won last year, whether he was the DH or not. And if those guys were so damn good, you know what I'm saying? If they're so good, why didn't they get picked up by anybody in Major League Baseball? Now, I would mention Snell has a qualifying offer attached to him, or as we like to call him here, shelled, because he gets shelled a lot. The guy has 5 walks per 9 innings. This is a guy that's won 2 Cy Young Awards. This is on the level of Ali Perez. Ali Perez walked that many batters per year. 5 walks per 9 innings. That is outrageous. And he's a 5-inning pitcher. He doesn't make it better. Like I said, if the Padres were so great last year, it didn't seem to make much of a difference. He pitched really well, but it didn't make much of a difference for them. Don't you agree? You know what I'm saying? So, the thing about some of these guys, again, like I said in my video the other day about talk radio in this town, talk radio in New York is basically reduced to what the 70s and 80s were: outrage, shock jock mentality. And they've not come to the grips that they are failing miserably. And this is all over the country. This is not only here, Boston, I guess EBI or EEI or whatever it is, WEEI. They are failing up there because nobody wants to hear their team constantly being pounded into the ground by the local radio station. Why do you think people watch this channel? Why do you think people watch my big channel? Why do you watch these other channels on YouTube or these different podcasts? Because you don't want to you want to hear all this negative stuff about the Mets and about our team. We don't want to do that. I stopped listening to WFM. Now watching them on SNY, that's been pretty good because we have a Met fan who's pretty fair and he's a customer, at Citi Field and Evan Roberts, and they like that. And it's funny how they sort of make it like goof on Norman Esiason, and they started goofing on him to make sure that I was able to watch it. Now, please hit the like button. I want to get some likes in here. Try to get to 10 likes. That'd be great. But Michael K., the team that's in the Bronx, how much did they improve their pitching this offseason? I mean, how much did they improve that pitching last year? They didn't do that great of a job. To be honest with you, aside from trading for Juan Soto, which they fleeced the Padres. If you go through that trade, the Yankees gave up nothing but middle relievers and a backup catcher. This is from Derpster 2016. Pete Alonso traded to the Astros for 2025. Well, first of all, what are you going to do with Alvarez? Isn't Alvarez the first baseman? That's the first thing. Who the hell's the first baseman there in Houston? It's not Alvarez. He's the left fielder, right? That doesn't make any sense. I've not heard one connection with the Astros with the Mets. I've not heard anything with the Astros. Nothing. For the Mariners, the Cubs, I've not heard anything with the Astros. And they have their own free agent issues. They have to decide if they want to sign Alex Bregman. And here's the thing. Pete is a free agent after the season. So the Mets will not be able to trade him to the Astros for 2025. They would sign him as a free agent. Okay? Just saying. Let's get to 3 more likes. That'd be great. Get to 10 likes for this video. We're up to 7 likes. I'm not going to go too long. Probably end the show at 8 o'clock, I think. But what's interesting about Pete, and just to talk about WFA, they've been pushing hard for Pete to get traded for the last, since August, since the word came out that the Mets were shopping him. Look, they were looking to see if they could trade and do everything they can to improve this farm system. First of all, the Mets will never get fair value for Pete Alonso. Pete Alonso has the most value with the Mets. He doesn't have a lot of value with other teams. He's going to be a free agent. There's no reason for teams to gut their farm system for a guy that doesn't play a premium position. He doesn't play shortstop. If Pete was putting up those numbers and he was playing shortstop, or he was a center fielder putting up those numbers, the Mets would be able to get a haul for him. The Mets are not going to get a lot for him. The players that they pick up in any kind of trade with any team will not be the value that they should get. He's most valuable to the Mets due to the fact that he's been here all these years, due to the fact that he has a strong connection with us. There's no sort of make a deal. You're never going to get the value. Paul Goldschmidt, who got traded to the Cardinals, a few years ago, every player on that Diamondbacks team, they didn't get anything. They didn't get anything back of value. Just as recently, this past off season, right before the off season, the Diamondbacks DFA'd um, the last player from that deal. So the Mets are not going to be able to. Mets aren't going to get anybody of value. I know that the fools at the fan, those fools at WFAN think that like Sal Licata, who says one thing on the fan and doesn't say it on SNY because they'll string him up. This is all about the audience, and they all know that. Sal Licata could never get away with talking about him endorsing Pete getting traded. And the fact that nobody on that panel will speak up and say, Pete, Sal, you said on your radio program that you want Pete to get traded. See, I was thinking about that show. That show's pretty boring. You know, all they do is sit in the studio. They bring in one talking another. They all say that there's nothing of value that anybody. They try to pretend that Sal is fun. I think they kind of laugh at Sal. That's different than having fun. They should hire me. That show would be fun. And I would push him to go on location. I would push him to go to Citi Field. I would push him to go to Yankee Stadium. I would push him to take the show down to Port St. Lucie or to Tampa. You know, that would bring value to that show. But I guess the Woodpunts don't want to spend money to do that. They really didn't do that to begin with. I know they do that remotely with the broadcast team, but you can't have people just sort of sitting around bullshitting every day about them, and then doing these stupid things that they do on SNY. And then you bring out a host that has like a bit of a two-face. You know, it's very strange to me how they do that. Here's from Richard. I think Pete signs between 200 and 240, and Soto signs for about 450 to 500. Probably right. You're probably right there, Richard. I don't think that. I mean, I don't think. First of all, Pete's going to look for the most money that he's going to get. Okay, he's let it be known when he hired Scott Boras, he was going to look for the most money in this situation. So that's the one thing that we're going to find out is what kind of money Pete's going to get and what kind of money Soto. But Pete in particular, he's going to be looking for the most money. He's probably going to look to get Matt Olson and as much as Freddie Freeman, for sure. So, but we'll find out pretty quickly. This, the season's going to go in a finger snap. It's going to go so fast. This season. Hopefully, we'll get some kind of resolution this year. I would hope that the Mets hold on to him. Like I said, the Mets are really a team that needs a big hitter in this lineup, a big power hitter. Now, I know this team has not won as much as they should have over the last few years. Now, I did a video on the prospect hut. I started talking about Christian Scott in that video. But what I thought was interesting, I came to sort of the conclusion to talk about this. We can talk about it here. The Mets since 2017. Because in that time, they've had 6 general managers over the last, since 2017. 6 general managers, 6 people running. And the problem with that is when that stuff happens, your farm system is inconsistent in that the philosophy isn't there. You're not going to produce the regular major leaguers that you need to produce in that time. And that is a major problem if you're trying to build a club. Your foundation isn't strong. It's from and Man 40. I feel like the Yankees, Braves, or Dodgers will not win the World Series this year. The Dodgers might make it, but they are not winning it, I feel. Dodgers better hope Ohtani can bat all season. It's a good point. The thing about the Dodgers is you've seen some of the predictions. They're going to win 101 games. I find interesting about that 101 games. A lot of games last year. They won like 104 games last year. They won 104 games last year. And it seems like I don't feel that they are much better. And part of the fact of the matter is because he didn't win in Anaheim. Okay, he did not win with the Angels. I think a lot of people thought he should have. And the Angels were desperate to keep him. They worked very hard they put a good team around him, and they had a good stretch there last year, but they just didn't do it. They didn't carry it forward. So that's the one thing that the Dodger fans have to understand. He does not make your team better. Okay? And I'm just being honest. He pitched great, but he is a 274 hitter. He is a 274 hitter. He's not a 300 hitter. The same can be said of Juan Soto. He did not make the Padres better. Now, he had a big year last year after having really just a dreadful season in 2022. With the Nationals and with the Padres, just did not hit well at all. So, the situation there with Soto is the same situation. I was very surprised to see the Yankees were going to win the division, that they had a better chance of winning the World Series than the Orioles. I thought that was outrageous because considering the gap in wins, it was a 19-game gap, folks. A gap of 19 games. The Orioles won 101 games, and the Yankees won 82. And the Yankees, how did they? And I would mention that Jared Cole is now 34 years old, so he's a year older, and I would say that he's probably not going to pitch as well as he did last year. That I will say, I just don't see him doing any better than he has over the last few years. You're going to see a decline. Now we'll see if Blake Snell becomes a Yankee. I am highly dubious about it because there are other teams involved in. And if the Yankees wanted him, they would have signed him already. Okay. San Francisco, I heard, is in on him, and the Angels are in on him. I would not be shocked if he went to the Angels. That's the kind of silly move that the Angels make, and he'll go there. Did you see this thing with Anthony Rendon? Now hit that like button, so we're gonna get some more likes in here. Did you see this situation with Anthony Rendon, where he basically said that he doesn't care about winning? He doesn't care about baseball. It's just his job. What's interesting about that guy is that guy killed the Mets. That guy killed the Mets all those years. He goes out to Anaheim, and you see this bad attitude. It probably explains why the Nationals let him go. They probably knew he had this attitude that it's just a job. Hope I get some more people in the chat. Hello, Joey Artello. What's up, Hut? Just Hut, not Hut 2. Finally, 2024 is on its way. Stephen Dilcher, how you doing, Stephen? My longtime subscribers. Frederick Dean de Ruder. Hope I can say it right. More likely the Angels. Well, we'll see. Really, Blake Snell he's the kind of guy that the Angels sign. He really is. But this thing, Rendon, between not really playing much with the Angels, and then his attitude last year when he was fighting with the fans in April, and of all places, Oakland. There's like 40 people in the ballpark. Who the hell is he finding who's he finding the fight there? Talk about comedy. There's nobody in the ballpark, Anthony. Who are you fighting with? Who are you fighting with? To see this guy suffer, because he used to, we all know, the Mets used to that guy killed the Mets all the time. He killed the Mets all the time. And to see him suffer, to see him struggle to hit, struggle to stay on the field, I love it when Met killers suffer. And there was no bigger Met killer than that guy. You know, of M-Man 40. Soto seemed a bit pouty to me. When he was slumping, he seemed to have a bad attitude that he brought to the field. He didn't seem comfortable in San Diego. You know what? The thing about Soto is he comes across as like an East Coast guy. To me, a lot of the players want to be on the West Coast. We know that Otani wanted to be on the West Coast. Yamamoto wanted to be on the West Coast. It didn't seem like Soto wanted to be on the West Coast. He didn't seem comfortable there. Like he really wanted to be on the East Coast. Just looking at it from afar, and now it seemed like that. And now that he's here in New York, he seems to be very happy. Now, whether it's happy here with the Yankees, there with the Yankees, or here with the Mets, it's all going to depend on the money. Because Scott Boras is his agent. I had somebody write to me, says on the other channel, no way the Mets are going to get Juan Soto. That's the kind of stuff I was hearing about in 2020 when I was starting this the other channel. I was hearing people telling me they had complained about it. We'll have to see, but there's not zero chance. That's not the case. That's not true. But we are here at the Baseball Hut too. I hope you like this video. Hit that like button. I know I said in another video on another channel that the like button's not that important, but you know what? Hit the like button. And of course, if you're coming in here, hit that subscribe button. So we got some free agents still out there. And there are actually some pretty good ones. But obviously, a lot of these guys have issues. A lot of them have issues, quite frankly. Let's go to Cody Bellinger. Now, Bellinger was with the Dodgers all those years, former MVP. But in the last 3 years, up until 2023, he was terrible. Just terrible. And if you saw him, you thought he was all like on pot and on, high as a kite. Whenever we saw him, on TV. But he had a good year with the Cubs last year. But he's having a difficult time getting a contract because he wants $200 million. And I think Major League Baseball is very nervous about it. And I think that's why nobody signed him yet. Now, the Cubs have sort of said they've had discussions with him, but not negotiations. How's that any different? What's the difference there? I guess not money. I don't know. I heard the Giants maybe, but that might be kind of out the window because they signed Soler. I've heard Boston. So the thing is, he's got a qualifying offer attached to him, I believe. So that really hurts him. The Angels, the Blue Jays, the Phillies, and the Mariners still in on him. This is from Frederick Dean Day Reuter. Poor medical staff with the Angels looks like, and he's suffering for it. Oh, well. Now, I will say this. I don't care what I say about the players. So if you're coming in here, the players I do not genuflect to. So when I goof on the players, just take it with a grain of salt. So even with the Mets, I goof on them. From Joey Nartello, hey, where did Met rally killer Daniel Vogelback end up, Hud? Only kid I thought we'd hear our first mini rant this year. No. Let him be with the Blue Jays. I guess he'd been with the Blue Jays once before. Let them have to deal with him. Let them have to deal with him. I feel bad for Ballcap Sports because he posted that they signed him. He was not too happy. It's just a minor league deal. He might not even make. You hope that he doesn't make the team. But I will say this: according to David Stearns, he's got elite on-base skills, just like with that running game that he has, that elite running game. That guy can barely move. You don't see too many players like him in majors anymore. You used to see a lot of them in the 70s. Players like him that couldn't move, but they played the field for the most part. Vogelback doesn't play the field at all. He can't play the field at all. It's pathetic. Okay, so Blake Snell is out there. We talked about him. The Giants, the Angels, and the Yankees are talking to him. Richard says, Daniel Vogelback should have wound up at Dunkin' Donuts. I think he's already done that. I think he's one of the guys that Tommy Pham was talking about when he said that he never seen such a lazy group of position players. I think that he was probably one of the guys that he was talking about. I definitely could. I think that was somebody he was probably talking about, certainly. Um, Along with Luis Guillorme. I bet you Luis Guillorme would come back, would be in shape when he's in camp. I haven't seen pictures of him with the Braves, but I'm sure he's in great shape. You know, what we want here with the Mets, we want players that want to be here. We want players that are looking for excellence. We don't want players here that are lazy. Okay? Because you cannot, in New York, you cannot be like that. It's too demanding, and it's even more so with the Mets. You know, and just looking at the body types of some of these guys, uh, this team was so poorly put together last year. It's good that Billy isn't here. Billy Epler isn't here, but Richard says, where did Pham go to? He is not signed with anybody. Jordan Montgomery, I don't know where he's going. It doesn't seem like the Rangers are going to re-sign him. But I've heard the Cardinals, the Yankees, Boston. Matt Chapman's still out there. He might have gotten hurt with the Giants not having obviously with the Giants signing that the Giants had interest in, but they might not be wanting to sign Matt Chapman now. I've heard Seattle with Chapman a little bit. I've heard the Dodgers, the Blues, go back to Blue Jays, the Yankees are going to do that. The Cubs and the Tigers. Frederick says he was one of them that the Mets kept on the injury list. Who was that? Who? Guillorme? They should have sent Guillorme out of here. They should have packed him out of here. Guillorme should have been sent down on a rail. They should have released him. That guy drove me crazy because he couldn't hit. He played in a game, folks. I think you all remember. He had a walk-off hit last year. But in that game and in that at-bat, he was supposed to bunt the runners over. He couldn't do it. Asshole, you are supposed to do those kinds of things. To do the little things. Okay? And he had an excuse me hit in that at-bat. And the fact that this asshole did not do the right thing and get that ball down, that is an indictment of the player. Oh, Vogelback. They didn't put Vogelback on the injured list. Vogelback's an injury if you're watching him. He's an injury to my eyes. Haven't watched him for that time. After a month, I got tired of watching him. Vogelback was not put on the injured list at all. He should have been. They had him on. He was on vacation for like a week and a half. Mets said, "Oh, he's going to take a week off and get his swing down." He's not a Hall of Fame player. Get him the hell out of here. And really, if you think about it, this is how I look at it. Vogelback got Buck Showalter fired. He got fired because Buck didn't want to play him, and he just dragged the whole entire club down. They couldn't get it back for Vientos because Epler was so stubborn that he wanted to win that trade. That trade was a disaster. Every trade that he made before the deadline, it was a disaster. Every move. JD Martinez, he's still out there. I don't think the Mets are signing him. I've heard Miami, Seattle, San Francisco, and the Angels. I don't know where the hell he's going. He's another Scott Boras guy. I don't know. Let's see my list. Adam Duvall's still out there. I don't think the Mets are signing him. I've heard Miami and Minnesota. Tommy Pham is still out there. I've heard a boatload of teams with him. The Yankees, the Angels, Boston, San Francisco, the Rangers, Houston, the Cubs. He'd be good. You know what? He'd be good in Baltimore. Baltimore would be a great place for him because you got a young, talented team that could use a veteran. It's not going to cost him a lot, and he'll push them. He's a good example. That is an example of a guy that's a good role model. I would mention that he had said when he was here that Brandon Nimmo, Pete Alonso, and Francisco Lindor were good leaders. And he complained a lot about the position plays, but he said that they were good leaders on this team. And Rosario's still out there. Tim Anderson has supposedly talked to Miami. Let's see on my list. Just go through the free agents, really. Yes, Frederick. Luke Voigt signed with the Mets. Uh, Gio Seller's still out there. I don't know where he's gonna go. I've heard the Mets, Toronto, and the Yankees. I think some of the players that we talked about a lot in the offseason that were gonna get traded, I don't think they're gonna get traded now. I don't think any of the Guardians getting traded yet. I'd be surprised if Classic got traded. I'd be surprised if Shane Bieber got traded. Um, Jake Cronenworth, I've heard him mention that he might get moved. Let's see, this is from former TSTV. Cashman better sign Snell. Why? Former says this: New York deserves one good team. Go Yankees. Okay. Okay. If you say so. If you say so. They deserve one. I never heard of such monkey crap. Don't they deserve two good teams? You know. And I would mention there were three teams here at one point. Many, many moons ago. I got a whole bunch of like trade candidates. Let's see here. Aren't you interested in Joey Votto? Joey Votto's still out there. I only heard the Angels. That's the kind of move the Angels would make. Brandon Crawford's still out there. I don't think that Brandon Belt will be coming to the Mets because they signed the world beater G-Man Choi. Yeah, I don't think that's happening. But so we'll see. I mean, this is a very, very frustrating offseason because there weren't any big players on this other than Yamamoto and Ohtani, just in terms of free agents, and everything was just a bunch of garbage and really nothing of real big value. I mean, the Mets really signed a couple of free agents. They signed Shomanaya, Luis Severino, Harrison Bader. But those are mid-range guys. Those are mid-range guys. So it's not. Those are like BC level players, which is fine. But there really wasn't anything major on this market in this market. Next offseason is a different story. You're gonna have Brandon. You're gonna have what the hell's his name? Corbin Burns on it. Soto on it. Pete's gonna be on it. Maybe Zach Wheeler. Zach Wheeler is negotiating with the Phillies to resign him to a big contract. So there's plenty of guys on here. Next year they're going to be that are big free agents, and there are going to be a lot of players that are going to get moved. I think Shane Bieber's a free agent. So we got a lot of players that are going to be free agents next offseason that are much better than what this offseason was. This offseason was a disaster. This offseason was a complete total disaster, folks. It really was. That's what was the most frustrating thing, doing the videos this offseason. And this is one thing I've learned, having done this channel now and really the other channel, in particular with the Mets, is that the Mets, and this goes for all the teams, unless the teams are good, unless the Mets are good and are expected to be good, it's a real struggle doing videos because not to do them, but to have people watch. Because then people aren't Googling the Mets and they're not Googling players that they're connected to. I was kind of playing around thinking with Ohtani a little bit. And Yamamoto was the most closest thing they got to trying to sign a big player. But the one thing I noticed is that people weren't really looking that up, especially, if it was a bad player. Yamamoto, people wanted to know what was going on. So I would do like videos just on every little detail that I could find. But this was not a great off season. It really wasn't. And just in terms of free agents. Next year's a different story. You got a lot of big players on the market. They're going to be players that are going to could be some really big players getting moved at the trade deadline this year. The Guardians could be very busy. The Rays could be busy. Who's the other team? The Brewers could be busy. Although I think the Brewers are going to be good again. Brewers seem to know what the hell they're doing. I would mention this. David Stearns did run that team for a long time. He did run that team for a very long time, so I kind of think he knows what he's doing. So that's why my patience with him is going to be there. The patience, I guess, at WFN is not great. That's why they've been attacking him. They attacked him 4 days after getting the job. And they've been attacking him, and then they had the nerve to say the Met fans are complaining about them. Bullshit. They're complaining about him. And those idiots, the 20 idiots that call on a regular basis are complaining about them. Hit that like button. It would be nice to get the 15 likes on this video. If you like this video, I will do another live stream at some point. They do one tomorrow. I don't know. That is a possibility. You could do a live stream tomorrow. I have to see how I feel. I work a lot of hours. I really do. And like I said, I wasn't really prepared to do a live stream. It just sort of felt like doing one because I didn't really feel like doing a, a bunch of videos and stringing along. That could be a headache. Yeah, that could be annoying. Sometimes I do those long videos for you and just cut it up. I thought this was a little bit more productive for what I'm trying to do. But yeah, so I'll keep you up to date on things here as much as I can. Obviously, I will be doing stuff. This is a pretty good live stream, I think. Maybe we'll start doing live streams again on the big channel. That'd be nice. I think the turnout here was great. I thank you for coming by. This was a great turnout, to be honest with you. What was the most came in here? About 22. That's the one thing about the sports, which is very different than, say, the entertainment side, especially the comic book side. So I can do a live stream and people will watch and participate. That looks like it'd be a little quiet, especially in the beginning. But this was a very good live stream. We'll be back, I guess, in the near future. Maybe tomorrow. Might be in another room. In the hut. And maybe we'll do a live stream on Wednesday, too, at some point. So we'll see. Got to be able to have something to say, which I barely had anything to say here, to be honest with you. Barely had anything to say here on this wonderful live stream with you all. Well, I want to thank you all for coming by. Hit the like button before you go, and if you're coming through, hit that subscribe button. This is the Baseball Hut 2, where anything goes here. So thank you for watching. Have a good night, and I'll see you later.